With more rappers getting angrier and angrier because of 6ix9ine snitching, there are too many reactions to keep up with, so we bring to you the best of the best. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.
God bless all of us, but to me, the worst thing you could do in the history of mankind is be a rat.
How many people has 6ix9ine snitched on?
Just weeks after 6ix9ine testified against his former associates, Anthony Harv Ellison and Aljamiah Nuke Mack of the 9 Trey Bloods.
Truth be told, we honestly don't know. We can guess that based on the people who have already been jailed and the very public court sessions that happened in September, that he has ratted out at least 24 people in either testimony or evidence-based stuff. Granted, 24 people aren't in jail right now because of 6ix9ine, but it could end up being that way before too long. Because of all his many faults, 6ix9ine makes a pretty good witness on the stand due to the fact that he knows the more he snitches, the more likely his leniency with the court and the FBI he'll get. So in this case, him holding back would be a dumb thing in terms of trying to get out of jail. But there's another reason that we don't know all the people who he has ratted out, and that's because not only is the trial still ongoing, but it's been many months since 6ix9ine has signed the plea deal from the FBI, meaning that there have no doubts been countless sessions of the rapper with the federal authorities discussing all aspects of the 9 Trey Bloods, the group he belonged to and then snitched out, and all the other players and groups of people that he or they interacted with over time. We only really heard about the names that we'll get to on this list because of the very public court sessions, as I mentioned earlier, ones that had reports and media blasting every single thing that 6ix9ine said as if it was the law.
That Jim was affiliated, and also brought up Cardi B. I think there was other names in there too.
Which, trust me, it wasn't, and we'll prove that later. But that's why those names came up. But the ones that are spoken in private, the ones that the FBI or police haven't been able to go get yet because they don't have the right amount of evidence, or something of the like. Yeah, that's still a mystery. Given that 6ix9ine agreed to rat out the entire 9 Trey Bloods crew, there are likely a lot of names that haven't made the papers, so to speak, that the FBI and others are looking into so that they can make more arrests.
Found guilty of racketeering, with Harv catching a separate charge for kidnapping 6ix9ine in July 2018. They both are looking at years behind bars.
Remember, the FBI has been after the 9 Trey Bloods organization for some time now, and they want them out of New York and out of the US. And the only way to do that is to lock them all up, which through 6ix9ine is exactly what they're doing, more or less. But until all the names are off the list, we're not likely to know all the names that made the list, though obviously there are a few that we can easily check off. Meek Mill.
You might have got on from doing it and it worked out to be able to make some money, but I think you need to slow down. I think you're beefing with too many people right now.
There are a lot of people calling out 6ix9ine right now because of his snitching and his antics, but when this whole mess got started, there were a lot of people in the rap world who weren't surprised by what 6ix9ine was doing in any way, mainly because they saw that he was a guy pretending to be hardcore just so that he could work the system to make himself popular and rich. One of the people who were all too happy to call him out for his trash was rapper Meek Mill. His part in this production, if you will, started where a lot of things start, on social media. For him, he was strolling through Instagram one day and noted someone boasting a collaboration between themselves and 6ix9ine. This was after he was a snitch, for the record. Meek Mill saw this and dropped shade on the other rapper for plugging 6ix9ine, noting that it was wrong to do so, and that 6ix9ine was non-existent to the community and beyond, which if you believe Jim Jones, is very accurate. This got a response from 6ix9ine's girlfriend, who called Meek Mill a hater for his comments, but Meek Mill didn't budge and just doubled down on what he said, noting that 6ix9ine was always destined to do this, that he could see right through 6ix9ine's act since the beginning, that he wasn't fooling anyone but trying to act like the victim or anything of the like, but this was always where things were going to end up for him, and now he has to lie on the bet he made, 50 cents.
Without being in danger. And they're seeing him in the safari.
Here's a curious one for you. Because 50 Cent has run around with a lot of crowds, including being in a crew with Eminem, Dr. Dre, and more, so you'd think that he would be the guy to just roast 6ix9ine for all the garbage he's done, right? Well, no. In fact, he was one of the people to support 6ix9ine after he did what he did. Sure, he played with the memes of 6ix9ine snitching at first, but eventually he lightened up and said that he would still support the King of New York when he got out. This has gotten 50 Cent a lot of flack, and many wonder if 6ix9ine comes out of prison that he'll still support him, or stick with his OGs and push him out of the rap community. Snoop Dogg.
Snitching, working with the government.
No matter who you are, whether you love rap or think it's weird, there's no reason you can't love Snoop Dogg. Sure, he's a bit eccentric at times, and he may not be living the most healthy of lifestyles, but he's a fun guy, and it takes a lot to get under his skin. So for Snoop to basically start a one-man war against 6ix9ine after he started snitching, yeah, you know that Snoop is taking this seriously, and that he won't stop until he feels he's gotten every last punch he can on him to make sure that 6ix9ine knows his place, which right now is underneath the boot of Snoop Dogg, due to all the ways he's bodied him via his disses on social media. media. Let's start this off at the beginning. When Snoop first heard about 6ix9ine snitching, there was no doubt that he was furious. He went onto social media and let his voice be heard loud and clear that in his eyes, 6ix9ine was a forever branded snitch, and that nothing he did would be able to make up for that. He was especially furious that 6ix9ine wasn't just snitching, but that he was snitching to the FBI, which is a step above the police, obviously. So he wasn't just being a snitch, he was being a federal snitch. Now, I had no idea there were levels of snitches, but I guess it makes sense when you think about it. The more that 6ix9ine snitched, the more and more that Snoop Dogg got irritated and lashed out at 6ix9ine. He went and made a series of posts all across social media in order to get the word out about how much of a snitch he was, even creating his own memes in the process just to tighten the screws on the young rapper. My personal favorite though was when he noted that 6ix9ine blabbed his mouth within 2 months of being in jail. He had Martha Stewart held out during her entire prison sentence and didn't become a snitch. So thus, by the law of the streets, as well as by the law of Snoop Dogg, Martha Stewart is more of a G than 6ix9ine, which is true when you think about it. And that's just one example of how he took to social media. But most recently, Snoop Dogg decided to get a little more funny and political with his jokes, because he took one of the infamous Make America Great Again hats and turned it into Make Snitches Get Stitches Again, which obviously is a very clear indication of how Snoop Dogg wants this to end. Of course, the sad irony of all this is that no matter what these rappers say to either defend themselves or to bash 6ix9ine, 6ix9ine honestly doesn't care, to the extent that he's gone on record as saying that these rappers are all mad that he snitched because it's going to make him more famous than they ever were, which in a sense is true, arrogant, but it does hold weight, as it's gotten him a lot of publicity. Now Snoop Dogg is infinitely more famous, powerful, and wealthy than 6ix9ine, but then again, if anyone knows how to stir controversy into publicity, it's 6ix9ine. Did you want to win any of these items on the screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right back into the video. Cardi B.
And speaking of Cardi B, social media went crazy after news broke that 6ix9ine snitched on her.
If you want to talk shock value, then you need to talk about the fact that 6ix9ine actually ratted out Cardi B during one of his court appearances in September, which quite literally set the internet on fire because of the statements made against her and what it could mean for her long term. This all happened in a rather subtle and organic way. 6ix9ine wasn't just listing off people that he knew were connected to the 9 Trey Bloods. He was actually just answering questions from a prosecutor when the name Cardi B came up. He was asked if he knew she was a Blood, and 6ix9ine said yes. And that's when the internet went ablaze. But as many have noted then, and was proven somewhat by the fact that Cardi B hasn't been arrested for her being part of the group, the context of her being ratted out is very important, to the extent that we need to know exactly what was said and how exactly it implicates Cardi B, if it implicates her at all. You see, the prosecutor asked specifically if she was a Blood, not whether she was a 9 Trey Blood. To that end, after the big reveal was made to the world, Cardi B went online herself to Twitter and noted to the world that she was a Blood, but not a 9 Trey. She was a part of a different group. You mean Cardi B is part of an illegal group like 6ix9ine is? No, that's not what I said. And even if she was, there's no way of knowing right now whether she was as deep in the group as 6ix9ine was, though I highly doubt it based on her career path. Anyway, this goes to prove why you can't just take everything 6ix9ine says in court at face value. To be clear, he didn't lie. He likely did know that she was part of a group called the Bloods in some fashion, and he didn't say that she was a 9 Trey, so that's a big deal. Plus, he was asked about it. He didn't just blurt her name out. So where does that leave us and Cardi B? Well, it doesn't affect us at all, so it leaves us right where we are. But ironically, Cardi is going through her own legal trouble right now, and this isn't likely to help them. It also should be noted that, ironically, the plaintiff in the case against Cardi B is none other than Jade, 6ix9ine's girlfriend. This case started before 6ix9ine was arrested, to be clear, but it must have felt sweet to throw some shade on the purpose that tried to hurt your girlfriend, right? Whether this hurt Cardi B in the long term or in her own court case is truly an unknown, and we're not likely to know until the time comes for Cardi to return to court. Jim Jones.
Like the few Tekashi songs, my G. I wasn't a fan.
We can't.
Let's continue to one of the people that 6ix9ine actually did rat out in the worst way possible via Jim Jones. Jim Jones is a veteran and legend in the rap community and has been on 6ix9ine's case for some time. In fact, his rants about him started out when 6ix9ine officially became a snitch. We'll talk about what he said a little later, but in September, 6ix9ine took to the stand and noted to the world that Jim Jones had influence in the group. What's more, the FBI had a wiretap of a conversation between Jim Jones and one of the high-ranking members of the 9 Treys, basically confirming that 6ix9ine was not bluffing on this. It also should be noted that 6ix9ine was sly enough to get a dig in on Jim Jones by saying to the court that Jones was a retired rapper, even though he's not at all. Anyway, a lot of people in the rap community didn't take kindly to him saying that about Jim Jones, but let's focus instead on something that Jim Jones said in an interview before being ratted out about 6ix9ine's place in the legacy of rap music. We can't. 6ix9ine's history is erased. We're not even gonna say what we liked or what we don't like. Screw him. He did some actions that he can't come back from, so his name, non-mentionable. That's a very very interesting take on things, and definitely something that many people in the rap community are aiming to try and accomplish right now. The rap community as a whole are quite furious with 6ix9ine to the extent that they feel he should be banned from the rap world in certain ways. They can't actually do that, but they can hope. Of course, 6ix9ine is planning to get right back into music when he gets out of jail, but he'll find a lot of opposition from people he both accused and people who knew his stupid acts from the outset. Kifano Shotty Jordan.
Who it is, but they're just trying to spin it because he already knew what was happening. He was looking for reasons to distance himself from Treyway.
There's a lot of people that 6ix9ine ratted out when he got the initial plea deal, but one of the biggest ones was his former manager, Kifano Shotty Jordan. This was the guy who helped 6ix9ine get to where he was musically in many areas, as well as being the guy who helped to be the middleman for 6ix9ine and the 9 Trey Bloods. In fact, many feel that Jordan is the actual leader of the 9 Trey Bloods, though that's obviously not confirmed. So it's not surprising that Shotty had a lot to say about 6ix9ine after his testimony got him convicted. First and foremost, he noted that while he may understand why 6ix9ine did what he did, he also noted that he'd never do what he did in terms of snitching. Sure enough, he didn't. He took a lesser sentence, but without the need to snitch on others, because that would be against his code. What's more, he and his fellow 9 Trey Bloods members all did what they could to go out with dignity in terms of their prison sentences. Only one other cracked, Mel Murda, but not in the snitching way. He just begged the judge for leniency so that he could be with his family before they grew up. The 9 Trey Bloods were devastated by what 6ix9ine did, and their true reaction may be coming when 6ix9ine gets out of prison. How much further does 6ix9ine need to go? That is the question, isn't it? How much further does 6ix9ine need to go in order to secure his freedom? The honest answer to that might just be not much, because at present he's pretty much good to go in order to get a sentencing hearing, which is scheduled for December 2019. In fact, he can take hope in what he has done so far, because originally the sentencing hearing wasn't set to happen until the later half of January 2020, which means he got his court date moved up a month, which doesn't happen for no reason, so thus something must be working in his favor. But should the need arise, he's got the rest of November and the early parts of December to continue snitching and do his ratting way so that he can get even more names onto the list of people he's busted for one reason or another, or through accusations out for the FBI to look at. You might think that after all these months of snitching that 6ix9ine would be tired of it all, but that's not who he is. Rather, he's the guy who would do anything to get himself over, even if that means snitching and becoming the most notorious guy in all of rap at the time, which he pretty much is, as I've outlined here on this list. But let's be honest with ourselves right now. Where does all this end for 6ix9ine? What are the likely scenarios that'll end up happening to 6ix9ine? Well, if you believe his lawyers, his sources, and of course 6ix9ine himself, he's expecting to be released by December or early January after his sentence is declared as time served, which of course would allow him to go back to the world of rap, welcomed or not, and continue his career. However, there is a chance that his crimes, which if you recall he had to plead guilty to in order to get a plea deal into effect, will come back to haunt him and thus get him put back in jail for a decent amount of time. It's not unheard of, and it's honestly kind of likely given the severity of what he's done, which of course can be mitigated, lessened, and cheapened by him and his continued snitching. But that's up to the courts, not us. All points lead to a singular goal though: make it to December and see what the fate of 6ix9ine really is. Can his reputation ever be fixed? Now in his prime, Tekashi 6ix9ine was making a lot of claims about being a blood and just a tough gangster all in general. He was highlighting in his music over and over, and even gave himself the title of the King of New York. I'm sure we can all admit that Tekashi was completely taking over the music charts and social media at some point. He was everywhere. He had everyone entertained with his persona. Well, that obviously came to a complete end for Tekashi when he started snitching on everyone in the gang, admitting he made a deal with the 9 Treys to help him create the illusion that he was a tough rapper for a percentage of his earnings. Marketing genius if you ask me, but since that's no longer the case for Tekashi, his image suffered immensely because of this. So what can he do to fix this? I mean, can he fix this? He's not the hardcore gangster he claimed to be, and that's mostly what his lyrics consisted of. So if he returns to rapping like he said he's going to, what are his lyrics going to be about now? His whole rapping style has to change, right? Only time will tell. But as for his reputation, do you think Tekashi can fix this in any way? And there you have it, a look at the many people that 6ix9ine has ratted on, or the people that have reacted to 6ix9ine's snitching ways. Can you believe the lengths that 6ix9ine has gone to in order to try and get free? Which of these rappers will try and get their own form of payback should he get out soon? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe. I'm Keep Trending, and I'll catch you next time.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad Mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.